you're breathing a certain way, you're meditating, you're using tools, that releases so many bliss chemicals like oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. Everything we're searching for from the outside, we're getting here in this factory.
For people who do not have a guru in their lives or who do not feel that divine guidance, that divine wisdom following them, what can they do to love themselves better?
My English teacher was a beautiful mentor to me. She was kind, compassionate, approachable. And in the kind of school that I grew up in, every teacher was assigned a student as a counselor.
How to let your negative patterns go out of your system so that you can attract that high vibration energy, positivity in your life, be it in the form of experiences and people.
Are you courageous enough to face your demons? Are you ready and saying that, okay, I am committed to myself on a scale of, like I'm a life coach, so I ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me what is your commitment to this goal? And if it's not a 8, 9, 10, I say change the goal.
How people have a certain type in relationships. They attract those kind of partners. They move on from that particular relationship. But in the next relationship also, they have that same pattern following them. No matter how much spirituality they follow, I think so many viewers would agree with this. And no matter, which book they are reading, which life guru they are referring to, but something within themselves is not changing, and that is why they are attracting the same energy in their lives.
They were not able to sit with themselves and to ask themselves the right questions. So one is breath work and meditation, which helps to slow down your mind, your heart, and you become an observer. So you start observing things, even how you're responding to something.
Hello everybody, this is your host Rangoli Sharma and welcome back to another enlightening episode of your favorite spiritual podcast, Speaking Tree. Another day and I've brought to you another exclusive episode of our English series, Mystic Mind. The guest who has joined me today, she has joined us for the first time on Speaking Tree. She is a transformational life and wellness coach, a spiritual mentor, and a renowned author. And as a spiritual seeker myself, I've brought some questions that you as a spiritual seeker in yourself would also have them. Like, who am I? What is the purpose of my life? We all have some negative patterns, some toxic patterns, some unhealed traumas. How to let them go? We all know that we need to love ourselves. But then what really stops us from loving ourselves? How to break those negative patterns which make us attract negative people, negative experiences in our life? See, I believe the ultimate goal of life is to be happy and live in a positive, high vibrational state. How can you reach into that happy and high vibrational state? All these aspects we've covered in today's podcast. So if you're a spiritual seeker yourself and if you keep asking all these questions to yourself, this is the podcast for you. But before starting, do let me know from which part of the world are you watching this particular podcast. And now let me introduce to you the guest for today. I would like to welcome Leena Gupta on Speaking Tree. Leena, welcome to Speaking Tree. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
And I feel so energetic just sitting in your presence. I don't know why. Maybe it's your high vibration. Something that we are going to talk about today. Self-love, high vibration, how to attract positivity and that high vibration experiences in your life. So before moving on to that, what do you think increases our vibration? What are those experiences? How can we inculcate that in our own life? How can one really love themselves? Because, I feel these days everybody is aware of self-love. But when it comes to actually loving yourself, we draw some boundaries. There are some obstacles. So how to actually reach to that level of loving yourself and being in that high vibration state all the time?
It's a great question. And I think that is something people are searching for all around the world. Wherever I go, that's the essence of the quest. But I think where we are getting stuck is that we've been conditioned for external validation. We've been conditioned to look outside for approval and permission and for someone else to make us feel whole or validated. And that is not anyone's fault. It's just the way we've grown up. And if you look into the psychology of this, it's very deep-rooted. the way we are kept insecure and small, always wanting to belong to something, always wanting to be associated with something, always wanting to collect, aggrandize things to, have it connect to our status, etc. That is, the industries basically profit off of our insecurity by keeping us small. The makeup industry, look at how big that industry is. The pharma industry, every time a product comes up, they say the brand new, the version of you that you want. They make it very fantasy-like. Why? Because they want you to feel not whole, not good enough, not in touch with yourself. Because if everybody got in touch with themselves, I mean, the world would shake. We would be so powerful. And that's what we need to do. I think that's our conversation today, is the shift from the external to the internal. And how do we do that?
Exactly.
That's,
how to feel that
magic.
Abundance within yourself. Because as you said, everything just tends to tell us that there is something lacking in you. So you complete it by, adding things to yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's our journey. And I think once you're a seeker and you go a little below the surface, you realize that, okay, this is what's going to help me. That for me, it was a guru. Okay, for me, it was a spiritually enlightened master that I chanced upon. I guess chance is a word we will go into again. But serendipity. And when my soul was crying for something higher, something deeper, something better, he showed up. And then he showed me how to shift my attention from smiling at the whole world to smiling at myself. And smiling at all the cells in my body that are working for me. Smiling at all the wonderful attributes that I have. Things that I like, that I don't like. Just coming into acceptance. And I think that has been a crazy realm to experience, because honestly, once you tap into that reservoir, magic happens. Magic on one level, but chemistry-wise, you're releasing a lot of bliss chemicals. So when you're with yourself, and you're breathing a certain way, you're meditating, you're using tools, that releases so many bliss chemicals like oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. Everything we're searching for from the outside, we're getting here in this factory. And this is something people have kept away from us because, like I said, they don't profit from it. And so this has been something amazing. And then once you're happy, how can you not spill it everywhere? That's your overflow. Right? Whatever you have inside is going to overflow. So when you walk into a room and you're happy, content, everybody's going to feel it. You have a chance to influence your environment rather than the environment always influencing you.
It just shows, as you said, once you enter and you are in the limelight, you are the limelight. People notice you because you're feeling abundant yourself. That happiness is spreading.
Look at children. They are the source of joy in any home. They light up the house with their naturalness, spontaneity. They're not thinking and analyzing, will she like me? Will he say okay? Will I be part of the club? They are just themselves.
And how they are always living in the present,
Yes.
That's the key.
That's the beauty. They're in the moment, completely in the moment without the past and future. And so they're able to really express the joy that's inside. They're not yet, I wouldn't say corrupted, but they're not yet influenced by what other people think. And I love that.
They are in touch with themselves, the source that lies within all of us.
Correct.
Talking about the source, when you mentioned your journey, I would say you had a divine grace because your guru followed you, right? So for people who do not have a guru in their lives or who do not feel that divine guidance, that divine wisdom following them, what can they do to love themselves better?
Well, first of all, let me address this question. I always had some kind of a mentor before my spiritual guru. My English teacher was a beautiful mentor to me. She was kind, compassionate, approachable. And in the kind of school that I grew up in, every teacher was assigned a student as a counselor. They would act as a counselor. So I would go to her, talk to her. There was so much love. Till this day, I just bless her soul because I found acceptance. I found love. I found capacity. I just felt so wonderfully blessed and protected. So it's not just a guru. A guru comes in many forms. It could be a parent. It could be an advisor. It could be anyone. So that's first part. Second is, I think when they see a light in you, that you're not ready to see yourself, you get to think about it. Like I remember my English teacher said to me, Leena, don't stop yourself. There was some obstacles coming my way for doing an international magazine in my high school. And she said, forget everyone else. You are meant to soar into that sky and go higher than you could ever imagine. Just those words were enough to make me think out of the box, make me feel that, yes, it's a possibility. And why am I not drowning out the noise? Why am I not? And she would help me with that, and I thought that was just wonderful. So I think we all need people who mirror different things to us.
True.
And that's when we see ourselves in a different light. And I think that's important.
As they say, Guru is meant to show you the light.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, digressing a little bit, the thing that you said about English teachers, I think English teachers are lovely. There is something about them that makes them different. I think everybody would relate. All the English teachers I've had throughout my life, they were just so special. I don't know what is it about them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they want to expand your mind. They want to expand your imagination. And I think that's a part of self-love, because when you're curious and you're imaginative, you don't stop.
Exactly.
It's like a sphere that never stops. It's like a circle. There's no linear, 1 to 10. It is, you come into curiosity and imagination takes you into wonder. And that's the childlike wonder that we want to step into. That's when your brain actually relaxes and your creativity opens up. And that's when you can find creative solutions also.
Exactly.
You can think out of the box.
I mean, gurus or teachers, they let you dream like a child. And I think once you dream, only then you can manifest.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Moving on to mirroring, as you said, that everything that happens in your life is somewhere a mirror, a reflection of your own energy. Let's talk about some shadow patterns, some negative patterns that we all have within ourselves, and I would call them the unconscious beliefs. See, we all have some childhood trauma, some experiences that shape our personality, who we become, how we act when we become an adult. So first, how to address these unhealed traumas, and second, how to let them go, how to let your negative patterns go out of your system so that you can attract that high vibration energy, positivity in your life, be it in the form of experiences and people.
Sure. I think it's a journey, Rangoli, it's multi-layered. Okay, the first is to want to be a seeker. The first thing is, do I have that thirst in me to want to grow? Because if I want to grow, then I need to know that I will have to move out of my comfort zone. And that sometimes is painful. So the first thing is, are you courageous enough to face your demons? Are you ready and saying that, okay, I am committed to myself on a scale of, like, I'm a life coach, so I ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me what is your commitment to this goal. And if it's not a 8, 9, 10, I say change the goal. Because I need that person to be in that high category so that they're committed, they're accountable, and they'll do the work. And that means coming out of the comfort zone. So what does that mean? Looking at your demons, sitting with yourself. Just sitting with your thoughts. You can start with that. Just sitting with your thoughts, and let's watch the thoughts without discernment, without discrimination, without judgment. I think we judge each other and ourselves so badly that we get stuck there. So, people are in unconscious patterns. So how do we become conscious? Let's do some breath work. The breath work helps us increase our energy levels. High energy levels increase awareness. And it's only through awareness that we can even spot our patterns. The other thing is, with breath work, what happens is you create gaps between your thoughts. Because your breath work acts like a disruptor. So when you have a series of bombarding thoughts, like a stream of, like a river, you cannot stop your thoughts. But when you start breathing and expanding the breath and regulating it, you create gaps. That gap is your pause. That pause allows you to see and witness your thoughts without clinging on to every single thought. That's your first step. That when you can witness and say, okay, I need to let this one go, I need to keep this one. Or I'll just watch it. I'll just watch it without judgment. That practice will help a lot. And that comes beautifully when you start meditating. When you start meditating, you let go of judgment. You are just a witness. And when that starts coming into your life, and along with that, let me tell you that you must be very clear with your goals. You must know what is aligned with you. What is the core value that you live by? You have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? What are my cravings? What are my aversions? What are my negotiables? What are my non-negotiables? What commitment do I make to myself? You need to know yourself before you can know anyone else. And that means sitting with yourself. And that's boring for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But imagine if you can't sit with yourself, how boring would you be for someone else?
Exactly.
So you need to sit with yourself, understand what matters to you, and then use that as a reference point in your life. So what happens is very quickly when you go somewhere, if something is happening, you can self-refer. Someone who's aware and has that power to quickly self-refer and say, okay, this feels good, this doesn't feel good. This is aligned, this is not aligned. You move very quickly through life.
True.
And you stay in touch with your core. Which is peace, which is love, which is joy. And that's the vibration we want. We want to be in touch here inside. My book is called Anchor Within.
Yeah.
So I teach how you should anchor within, how you can anchor within, so that when you're dealing with the external world, you're still navigating from your inner strength, your inner wisdom, your inner knowing, so that the outer storms don't, throw you off balance.
Well, that's beautifully expressed. And I agree. I would say that the problem with us is we do not become observers. We feel things and we feel that this is me doing this. But sometimes you have to observe your own reactions. You have to observe what you're doing. Having said that, I do believe that although, let's say, we do these techniques, we do work on ourselves, but there are times that people are not able to break those negative patterns within themselves. And the best example of this would be, and as we were discussing off the camera, that how people have a certain type in relationships. They attract those kind of partners. They move on from that particular relationship. But in the next relationship also, they have that same pattern following them. No matter how much spirituality they follow, I think so many viewers would agree with this. And no matter, which book they are reading, which life guru they are referring to, but something within themselves is not changing. And that is why they are attracting the same energy in their lives. So how to break that pattern, that strong, deep-rooted pattern?
Sure, that can apply for anything,
Yes.
any addiction, I would say,
Exactly.
right? Whether it's people or an addiction.
Yeah.
So what's important here is that if you've not learned the lesson, you will keep repeating it. So if you're in multiple relationships, and I've had clients who've had multiple relationships where they failed, where they felt they failed, or they felt smaller, but they were not able to sit with themselves and to ask themselves the right questions. So one is breath work and meditation, which helps to slow down your mind, your heart, and you become an observer. So you start observing things, even how you're responding to something, or what makes you attracted to something. Is it the dopamine hit? Is it the chemistry that you're after? And that bad boy syndrome or the bad girl syndrome, it's that dopamine hit you're looking for, and you find the nice guy boring. So you have to be aware of the patterns, but awareness comes with high energy. That's first of all. Second of all, be able to sit with yourself and say, you know what, first me. Can I be my own soulmate before I'm looking for someone else? I think that's the test. I think you need to romance yourself first to the
I love
nth.
that.
Like take yourself out, snuggle with yourself and feel that vibe that you want to feel with someone else, but can you feel it with yourself first? Trust me, when you feel whole, another whole person will walk with you. But if you feel not whole and not complete and too many holes in your system, then you'll attract another person who's looking for someone to fix them. And then you will be two lame people walking together. That's not a great sight, because you're not walking in a happy way. So I think you have to love yourself first. You have to learn to sit with yourself. I tell my clients first thing, just sit with yourself, 10 minutes. There's a study that's been done, research in, I forget which university in America, where they had two sets of people, one in a particular room with no buzzer. There was an electric buzzer, okay? So if they want to press that, they get a shock. Mild shock, but they get a shock. The other room didn't have it. Now, people who pressed that buzzer couldn't sit with themselves for even 15 minutes. 75% of the people couldn't sit with themselves for even 15 minutes. They pressed the buzzer because they needed some stimulation. They needed some distraction. They needed some sensory experience. Imagine. So this is what the world has come to with all our gadgets. We are becoming more fragmented inside, disconnected, and more looking towards what can I get, and I want it now.
Exactly. And what can make me feel complete within myself?
What can make me feel complete? And look at the attention span. Now, it used to be like maybe 15 seconds. Now it's come to like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So then you see all these antics on social media because people want to get your attention right away. So the thing is how it's I wouldn't say sad. I think you need to navigate. I think in every culture, every era, something new will come up. Now it's AI. My time it was HBO and, MTV. That was a taboo thing. But the point is, they're not going to go away. These things will keep coming up.
Exactly.
How grounded are you within yourself? How committed are you to yourself? And then, you are walking with an army when you're with yourself and you're really like grounded, when you're really anchored within. You take your whole force with you. You're never alone.
Yeah.
In Maya Angelou's word, I take my whole family with me when I'm on stage. I took my grandmother and my great-grandmother and her great-grandmother. I take everybody with me. What a beautiful, thing she said.
Yes, definitely. So you said one needs to sit with themselves and ask the right questions. What would be those right questions that one need to ask themselves when they are on a healing journey or when they are on a journey to, make themselves more positive and high vibration?
Absolutely. Great question. What do I mean to myself? What relationship do I have with myself? What are my greatest fears? What makes me cringe? What makes my soul soar? If nobody was judging me, what would I do? Wow. If there was no fear in my life, how high would I fly? How high would I jump? How loud would I laugh? If I was guaranteed success, what is that I would try today? What is it that I would venture and take a risk at? So you have to sit with yourself and say, okay, what do I love about me? What are the 3 things I love about me? And am I ready to look in the mirror every single day into my eyes and say, I love you, Leena. You are so beautiful. You are so amazing. Mwah. What a creation of this universe. Like, go all out. Because if you can't do it,
no one can.
They may try. It won't feel exactly the same. You got to know that to feel that, right? You got to have some part of it. That ansh has to be in you. That tattva has to be in you for you to understand that if it's outside.
As they say, if you're not happy with your own self, you won't be happy with the second person.
Correct. I mean, it starts with you, right? You're your own soulmate first. But I think this fantasy that we live with, this fantasy destroys us. It disappoints us. It makes us feel unworthy, because if you're carrying a fantasy, it's bound to break. You be your own fantasy first. You romance yourself to the end, like I said. You be your partner, your soulmate. Learn what that means to love yourself. And then when you feel whole and complete, you walk with that aura. Anybody will be attracted to you. Yeah. It's not just the soulmate. Everybody will. Or what are we all craving? Love, respect, compassion, that wholeness. You can't outsource wholeness. That is something that has to be, let's struggle a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Where the butterfly also goes through the cocoon and the larvae stage and all that. It has to struggle a little bit, right? If you poke a hole in that cocoon just to help it, it spreads its wings and then dies, never takes its journey and flight. Let's struggle a little bit and let's get to know who we are. It's worth it.
And even in your book itself, you've mentioned this particular keyword that I would like to point out, as we were having this discussion already, from soulmate to self-mate.
Yes, self-mate before soulmate.
Yes.
So again, coming back to how do you know someone else's soul when you don't know your own?
Yeah.
So it's so important to love yourself first and be that reference point when you meet someone. Because when you meet someone, how do you know what you like, you don't like? You just flow. Most people are flowing because of chemistry. Yeah. Most people are wanting that dopamine hit. They want to feel excited, that love bombing. But that creates so much stress, so much disappointment, and the fantasy breaks very quickly. So once you know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what makes you feel amazing, then you can give it to yourself. You must feed that to yourself first. So I ask my clients, have you been out for dinner by yourself? Okay, lunch, sometimes people eat alone. Have you been to dinner at that restaurant where you want the other to take you? Yeah. In the same way, can you do it for yourself? Can you go to a movie just alone? See, abroad people do it. But in India, not everybody takes themselves out for a movie, right? So these are the acts, the simple gestures of just loving yourself. Once you are on that journey where you can be by yourself, you feel self-reliant, then why wouldn't anybody be attracted to you? Absolutely. So love yourself first. Get to know who you are. Ask yourself a lot of questions.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope this podcast inspires people to ask themselves the right questions and a lot of questions which do make sense, and let them find their purpose. Now that we talked about purpose, I do feel that, Leena, so many people they reach their 60s, they reach their 70s, and even till then, they don't know the purpose of their lives. And how unfortunate is that? That as a soul, we are here to experience life, to evolve, to learn, to love. But what gives our soul the identity is a purpose. That's what I feel. How to find that one purpose in your life? For anybody, for my viewers, anybody who's watching this podcast today, just give them
great question.
a tip, like through which they can find their purpose in life, no matter what age group are they in right now.
See, so very interesting question. A lot of people ask this. Remember that your purpose cannot be told to you by someone else.
Exactly.
But what we can ask ourselves, and my mentor Shri Shri Ravi Shankar ji says this, ask yourself, what is not the purpose of my life? Start with that. Start with that list. My purpose is not to cheat someone. My purpose is not to steal. My purpose is not to, whatever the list is, just write that. Somewhere along the lines, your purpose will show up when it needs to. It will stare at you in the face. But if we're aware and there's high energy and we're the witness, we'll see it more clearly. When the waters are still, we can see our reflection. But if the mind is turbulent and the waters are constantly in ripple, you won't see your reflection. So I think what's important is that no one else should be able to tell you your purpose. Now, when you're ready, the purpose will appear. And if it doesn't, don't make that your project. That what is my purpose? Keep asking yourself, who am I? Why am I here? That will take you deeper into your subconscious, take you deeper into your purpose. It will. But let the purpose reveal itself. It's not something we can dig and say, okay, I'm ready to find my purpose. It will. Go try. I tell young people this, go try 10 different things, risk things, try different things. You'll come to know what doesn't suit you, what doesn't work for you, what works for you, what makes you feel expansive, what makes you cringe. We have to step out of the box and try different things, right? And what's the big deal about purpose? There are people who are farming and that's what they do. And there are people who get enlightened farming as well. So does purpose have to be defined by somebody or something? Or is it a feeling of freedom and peace and joy? So it's different for everybody. And I think don't focus too much on what's my purpose. Let it reveal itself. That's the beauty in life. Let it come. But are we aware? Are we ready for it? Ready to see it, ready to feel it, ready to experience it?
Yeah. So that when it shows up, as you said, it would stare right at you when you're ready for it. Yeah. When you have that capability to, handle it, to balance it.
Perhaps, yes. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's a journey that we don't need to have definitions about. I think everything can't be linear. Everything can't be black and white and have answers. Some things are mysterious. What is grace? Grace is not something we can put a stamp on, right? It's an occurrence. So let things appear in your life. Let little mystery happen. Let a little revelation happen. And that's beautiful.
Leena, there's a very famous quote that goes something like that: let nobody's praise boost your ego, and let nobody's criticism diminish you. And I think that's a very beautiful state to be in, because then you're living in an equilibrium, then you're living in a balanced state. But we all are somewhere aware of it, especially the spiritual seeker ones, that they want to reach into that balanced state,
sure,
right? But I think something or the other stops us. We let the heaviness of the world affect us in a good way, in a bad way as well. But I think it would be a beautiful state to reach to that equilibrium level. And I think that is the state of a meditator or a sadhak, right?
Yes.
So what advice would you give to my audience so that they reach into that balanced state?
Well, I think that let's understand first that we are all part of divinity.
Yeah, beautiful.
That we are not separate. I think that's one of the reasons we have some wars going on and so much angst in the world is when people feel separate. When we feel that, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, that one world family, when you feel that wherever you go, this is my home and I belong here, that's when you start seeing people like your family. That's when the compassion grows, empathy is there. So that makes us more blossomed human beings. And, people who feel that way are approachable, they'll help you, they think of you as part of them. And I love that. And it's not easy to get there because the mind judges so much, and we feel others are judging us, we are also judging. So I think that's why the key tools, breath work, meditation, these are very, very important, because we start becoming the observer, like I said before. That's when we can say, oh, my mind is judging again, let me come back. Because, you know, when we make a mistake, we want others to be compassionate with us. So like that, can we leave some room? I talk about this in my book, 80-20 trash can rule. Can we leave that 20% for life's chaos, for conflict, for confusion, and even for criticism?
I mean, we are taking out some space, let all of this happen.
Yes.
But what we think
it is inevitable. Rangoli, it's inevitable.
True.
So even if we don't want it, it's going to happen. So if we can be a little mature about it and say, this is going to come my way anyway, whether in the form of criticism, whether in the form of confusion, let me be smart and leave 20% room for that.
That's a
so
beautiful
80% is going fantastic. The mind clings to the negative. But knowing the tendency of the mind is to cling to the negative, let me focus on the 80% and get going. Because that's where we stop.
Grateful for it.
Grateful, and then what happens is when you have acceptance, you move. You go into the yes next mindset, which I have in my book again, which is acceptance and next step. You take a responsibility. Otherwise, we sit there ruminating on why someone said this, why did someone did that, and we are stuck in that loop. So, and the other thing is, we are all divine beings. We all have flaws. And can we learn to appreciate, you know, the people who criticize the most are the ones who don't like themselves. They like themselves the least. And people who love themselves have left room for compassion, have left room for fallacies, for imperfection. They've accepted themselves. So they will be in a better space to accept someone else who makes a mistake or is imperfect, because they understand what it means to accept the imperfect
and the perfect
and the so-called perceived perfect. Right? So I think that little spirituality helps with that. I think that, and what happens is, you know, we say meditation, but we don't explain that when we're meditating, there's a vagus nerve, right? That goes from the top of the head to the digestion system. And that's the biggest nerve. And what happens is when we meditate, it gets tapped. And when that's tapped, certain hormones are released. When we're meditating deeply, empathy is released. Empathy, the feeling of empathy grows, and also safety for oneself. Now, if I feel safe within myself, why won't I compliment you? Why won't I support you? Why won't I be your partner or your, you know, someone who's your colleague, or, you know, why won't I come to your rescue? But if I don't feel safe within myself, then I think you versus me, me versus you, there's a separation. The other thing is the empathy and the safety. Both help us connect to people. So meditation is really releasing such beautiful chemicals. It's actually making us connect to our humanity, connect to our divinity. And that's the space we want to be in.
Exactly. It's showing the light within yourself. And I completely agree that, you know, people who are abundant within themselves, they see so much goodness in life. They see so much goodness in people. I've seen so many, you know, positive, happy people. Why are they able to compliment a stranger? Because they feel that abundance within themselves. And I think that's a beautiful state to reach to. Very beautiful, you said. You know, when we talk about Bhagavad Gita, one of the shlokas, it says that Karm karo, but phal ki chinta mat karo. That do your work, but don't be too attached to the outcome. But at the same time, I do believe that it's a very human nature to do something and, you know, expect the results. But at the same time, I do believe that the ultimate goal of life that they talk about, moksha, it is a state of free of expectations when we are not expecting anything. So how to live that life which is free of expectations?
Well, I think first we have to, great question. First we have to understand what is the role of expectations. Expectations reduce our joy in life quite a lot. You know, your friend says, oh, you have to see that Tom Cruise movie. It's just too good. And they go on about, like, for an hour they're going on. And you go and you say, it's not that great. Because it's been hyped. The expectation creates disappointment very easily. So once we understand the nature of expectation, we don't try to eliminate it. We say, okay, it's there. But the difference is when you become a witness to it, okay, it's coming up. Okay, I'm beginning to start expecting I should want these results or whatever. Okay, The minute you're aware of it, it subsides. It doesn't go away, it subsides. The intensity reduces. And that, as a sadhak or a seeker or someone who wants to grow, can start looking at their lives and say, okay, expectation is coming up, let me release it. Why? Because it will lead me to disappointment. It may not be matched to the reality. It may not be matched to my perception of what reality is. So, expectations will come up. But like you said, we don't have to get too attached to it, because you need to put in your 100% and then leave something for the universe to help you with. Once you give your 100%, let's learn to let go. Let's learn to trust. And let's learn to feel connected to the universe and say, okay, you know what? I've done my bit. Now it's up to you. That letting go applies to corporates, applies to everybody. Passion and dispassion. You need to have passion for the drive and dispassion to let go once you've done your work. And these are things that are cultivated. So, I talk about the 3P principle in my book, which is the whole reason, my whole philosophy is based on that. So the 3 principles are philosophy, are ancient truths, the wisdom. We're going to die. Things are changing. Everything's dynamic. That's the wisdom that grounds us. Then there's psychology. Psychology helps us understand, what are my patterns? What is it that I'm doing again and again? Or how does my mind think? How do I behave? Am I reacting or am I responding? Psychology reveals that to us. And then practicality. So practical tools and techniques. So when I was struggling in my life and, younger, and I was thinking, God, everybody gives me advice, philosophical advice, all kinds of advice. But where are the tools? Like, tell me how. Don't just tell me how to be happy. Stop expecting.
Give me the solution.
Don't get angry. Tell me how. No one's telling me how. So for me, practicality was very, very important. I saw a gap there. And, for me, the equation is, wisdom plus practical tools and tips is transformation. Wisdom minus tools is information. Okay. So for me, that's very important. That's why in my book, I've just put so many practical tools, techniques, methodologies, very simple things we can do on the go, so that we are equipped to imbibe the lessons and to bring them into life. It shouldn't be wisdom going over your head. It needs to come into our life. And same with expectations. We need to understand the nature of fear, nature of expectations. What does it mean? What happens to us? That psychology is needed. That practicality is needed. And baby steps. You have to give yourself a little grace to go over your hurdles. And main thing is, be a witness. Do you even know an expectation is coming up? That's when you can become aware and say, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's so subconscious,
Yes, it is. We are wired that way.
Realize it. True.
Yeah. We are a bunch of subconscious patterns.
Yeah, true.
We're only existing, if you ask me. And the real living happens when we're awake. When we can see that this is also just a dream. I've had so many lifetimes. I've had so many episodes. Do I need to get stuck here? Can I see my life in the big expansion, big sphere of things? Or am I going to be stuck in one microcosm of what I understand reality to be? Can we climb up on that mountain and see that aerial view, that broad view of life, that, in the big sphere of things, what am I? Not a speck on a speck on a speck of dust, not even. And that frees your ego. But at the same time, how magnificent am I? What a divine creation I am. So we need to be able to see both.
Aham Brahmasmi. The God is within you. Now, to put a beautiful end to this beautiful, wonderful conversations that we've just had, I do believe that although life is subjective for everyone, it's the same world, but it's different to each one of us. You, as Leena, is living the same world very differently. And I, as Rangoli, is living this world very differently. But on a general level, now that you talked about soul's journey as well, what do you think is the ultimate goal of life for anybody, for any soul who chose to express itself in a human form? What is the ultimate goal that we are experiencing this life, other than just to learn and evolve?
Well, I mean, look, so my Guruji says, Shri Ravi Shankarji, when someone asks you the purpose of life, run away. Because one who will tell you doesn't know, and the one who knows will not reveal it to you.
Okay.
It's your journey.
Okay.
But keep asking the questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Keep asking. That will take you deeper into that answer itself. But I know that let's put it the other way around. We're not here to hurt people. We're not here to lie. We're not here to, gain by stepping on other people. So let's go into that. If we're not sure about what our purpose, let's go into what we're not supposed to do.
What we are not supposed to do.
Yes, and somewhere we'll find ourselves. But I think what's in a practical way, what can we do better? How can we be better to ourselves? I think that's the first step. How can I be nicer to myself, have more compassion for myself? We beat ourselves up with self-criticism and negative self-chatter. How can I be more graceful to the divinity that's within me? Now today, your parents created you, but the divine, you're part of the divine. He can't be wrong or she can't be wrong. You're a masterpiece. Can we first feel that I am so beautiful in this creation and yet I'm nothing also? That, I think, keeps us in a balanced state, and let life reveal something. I always feel let life surprise you, let life reveal things. But be that one who has that curiosity. Keep asking the questions.
That I as a soul has been put here to experience this life and just learn and evolve.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything doesn't have to mean something, and yet something can mean nothing also. I feel let life surprise you. Be asking questions. You know how children keep asking, why is the sky blue? Why is the sun up? What is the moon all about? They're just so curious, but they don't, they don't harp on the fact that they need one answer. They have so much imagination about it. Why don't we step into curiosity?
Exactly. I think we have to look at life like a child.
Yes.
And let answers reveal themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And as you said, one thing that can definitely give you the answers when you focus on what you are not meant to do. Maybe you will find
That's a good way to start.
Answers. Yes.
That's a great way to start.
Yes. And that's a great way to end this conversation as well. I think we've covered a whole lot of things about purpose, life, and releasing your own toxic patterns. So it was definitely a wonderful conversation with you, and it did not feel like I'm meeting you for the first time.
Absolutely. No, it was a blast. Really enjoyed being here, and thank you for inviting me. It was wonderful.
It's our pleasure, and I'm sure that this energy, that this lovely conversation, insightful conversation that we've had, it reflects to my viewers as well, and they can completely agree and relate to it, because I think as a seeker, as a spiritual seeker that most of my audience is, we all have these questions. Who am I? How to let go of my negative patterns? What is the purpose of my life? Why am I not able to love myself even though I know that I'm supposed to love myself? So I hope this lovely, insightful and such depthful answers that you gave, it really helps my audience. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
So do let me know, how did you enjoy today's conversation? We talked about some questions that every spiritual seeker has. As I said, who am I? What is the purpose of my life? How to let go of my negative patterns, the unhealed traumas. How to love myself, even though I know I'm supposed to love myself, but there are some boundaries, there are some obstacles that stop us from realizing our own divinity, as Leena said. So I hope this conversation makes you realize your own divinity, honor it, and love yourself, and let life surprise you. So share this podcast as much as you can, and also let me know from which part of the world are you watching this podcast, and do let me know what more questions, what more topics should we cover in the coming podcast with Leena. This is your host Rangoli Sharma. I'll see you in next one. Namaste.